I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Dan Pillow? Dan Pillow?
Here.
I'm distracted.
Jennifer Wiehe?
Here.
Jennifer Anderson? Ann Pillow?
Here.
Al Glick?
Here.
Pam Jackson?
Here.
Council Jennifer texted me and said she was not able to get a babysitter to get down here tonight. All right. We'll just go ahead and move forward with clerk's report.
You received the minutes from July 17th. This was our regular council meeting.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from July 17th.
I'll second.
Motion by Pam, second by Al. Any discussion? No discussion, we'll vote.
Dan Pillow?
Yay.
Jennifer Wiehe?
Yay.
Ann Pillow?
Yay.
Al Glick?
Yay.
Pam Jackson?
Yay.
You received the minutes from the special council meeting on July 21st.
I'll make a motion to accept the special council meeting from July 21st.
I'll second.
Motion by Pam, second by Al. Any discussion? No discussion, we'll vote.
Dan Pillow?
Yay.
Jennifer Wiehe?
Yay.
Ann Pillow?
Yay.
Al Glick?
Yay.
Pam Jackson?
Yay.
You have minutes from July 24th, special council meeting.
I'll make a motion to accept the special council minutes from July 24th.
Second.
Motion by Pam, second by Dan Pillow. Any discussion? No discussion, we'll vote.
Dan Pillow?
Yay.
Jennifer Wiehe?
Yay.
Ann Pillow?
Yay.
Al Glick?
Yay.
Pam Jackson?
Yay.
You have minutes from the special council meeting on August the 3rd.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from August the 3rd.
I'll second it.
Motion by Ann, second by Al. Any discussion? No discussion, we'll vote.
Dan Pillow?
Yay.
Jennifer Wiehe?
Yay.
Ann Pillow?
Yay.
Al Glick?
Yay.
Pam Jackson?
Yay.
You received minutes from the special council meeting on August the 9th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from August the 9th.
I'll second it.
Motion by Pam, second by Al. Any discussion? No discussion, we'll vote.
Dan Pillow?
Yay.
Jennifer Wiehe?
Yay.
Ann Pillow?
Yay.
Al Glick?
Yay.
Pam Jackson?
Yay.
You received pay ordinance 8A. This was for biweekly payroll that was dispersed on July the 28th. From the general fund, $10,562.86. From the water fund, $2,126.23, for a combined total of $12,689.09.
I'll make a motion to approve 8A 2023.
I'll second it. Motion by Pam, second by Ann. Any discussion? No discussion, we'll vote.
Dan Pillow?
Yay.
Jennifer Wiehe?
Yay.
Ann Pillow?
Yay.
Al Glick?
Yay.
Pam Jackson?
Yay.
Next, you have 8B. This is, again, for biweekly payroll that was paid on August the 3rd. From the general fund, $8,791.98. From the water fund, $2,727.99, for a combined total of $11,519.97.
I'll make a motion to accept 8B.
I'll second it.
Motion by Al, seconded by Pam. Any discussion? No discussion, we'll vote.
Dan Pillow?
Yay.
Jennifer Wiehe?
Yay.
Ann Pillow?
Yay.
Al Glick?
Yay.
Pam Jackson?
Yay.
Next, you have 8C. This was for monthly salaries from the general fund, $6,750. From the street construction, maintenance, and repair fund, $380.12. From the water fund, $600. for a combined total of all funds, $7,730.12.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 8C 2023.
I'll second it.
Motion by Ann, second by Pam. Any discussion? No discussion, we'll vote.
Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Jennifer Wiehe,
Yay.
Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Al Glick,
Yay.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
Then you have 8D, this is for accounts payable from the general fund, $10,860.34. From street construction, maintenance, and repair fund, $649.74. From the state highway fund, $230.60. From the water fund, $6,294.77 for a combined total of $18,035.45.
What's the Holmes blacktop? For
Holmes Blacktop.
$6,098.
Holmes Blacktop is what council was kicking back and forth for approximately 5 months, asking why and where Main Street hadn't been patched. And the street commissioner came to me and asked me for a purchase order, and I told him it had to go to the water board. 2 months later, I still hadn't received anything, and Dustin, the street commissioner, hadn't received anything. And it was brought to council back in June that we had a quote for $6,000 and something for Holmes Blacktop, and council approved the expenditure.
I got something to say about that on the water board. I got the papers right here where it was brought from the water board, and we wanted to table it until we found out about the water tank cleaning and that. And we also wanted more bids on it. You only had one bid. My understanding is you had to have 2 or 3 bids on everything. So we put a hold on it till we get more bids.
We had more than one,
We only received one, Holmes Blacktopping.
because Tony gave you guys another one.
We did not receive it.
I
got
don't
the minutes right
understand
here.
why.
I got the minutes right here to show you.
Well, that's fine with the minutes, but I tell you what, that night the council voted on that, before council voted on it, I called Jason and said, Jason, because that water meeting was the same night, I said, look, you know, this has been more than 5 months. I said, are we good to go or not? Because citizens are complaining, council wants all these potholes filled, it's not just Main Street, it was where all the
Now,
breaks were.
Jason just said our
And
last
Jason
meeting that
told me-
he didn't know nothing about it.
He told me that it was good to go.
You can't just take one person's road, it's got to go through the committee, so we have to pass it.
And he said it did.
It did.
Am I supposed to tell him he's lying?
Well,
I
if
guess.
if he said it, then he's lying, because I have the minutes right here.
Because he told me that it was
that-
good to go.
Well, we never voted on it or nothing else, and it shouldn't have been paid through the water fund.
It was from the water breaks.
No, one was water breaks, you had 2 or 3 from MSD. MSD is supposed to fix their own, if they tear the street up, MSD is responsible to fix it. The village ain't
Yeah.
responsible to fix it, MSD should have fixed their own.
Because
when
Main
they tore the
Street, I'm
up.
assuming that's where we broke it up to check the lines.
One line, one hole was waterworks or maintenance, the village did it.
Mm-hmm.
The other one was MSD. The 2 on Second Hand, I believe, was MSD, or the 2 on Second Street, one of them. But you have contractors come in and dig these holes, contractors responsible to fix them up, to patch them. It's
Yeah,
not up to the
agreed.
village or the waterworks. And on this here, $6,000, the water board should have had to vote on it after a couple more bids, because we even stated in the minutes, we wanted more bids. We don't feel that the water board should be responsible for this $6,000, because we never voted on it, we never passed it.
The one on Second Street, 119 Second Street, that was done by complete contractor.
Okay?
It was in front of Mrs. Snow's house,
Mhm.
and it was their responsibility to patch it. It was a water job. The other ones that I'm aware of was on Second, and that there was a water problem. The other went out at 32 Main. That's when they dug it up to see where the leak was coming from. That was close to Mr. Young's house. But after 5 months of being, holding bids, waiting on other bid, a bid to come in, that's how it got paid.
Yeah, but you just can't go into one fund and take it out to pay a bill without that board passing it. I mean, that's the way it works.
Legal counsel, that's in your arena.
So, when does the water board meet again?
I think it's the third Monday of the month.
It's the second Monday of the
Second
month.
Monday.
Second Mondays of the month, yeah.
So what I would do is I would call a special meeting of the water board and get all your members there, and then I'll come over to your special meeting and we'll go over all the bills. And we'll get all the documentation and lay it out.
Okay, and, like I said though, if you got Complete comes in here and does a water main break, Complete should be responsible to fix that hole. If you got MSD comes in and digs the street up, the MSD is responsible to fix that,
I agree.
That's
That's the way it
the
always
way
used
it always
to
has
work.
been.
That
Right.
if, but truthfully, our own men used to do
If-
all
yeah.
the breaks, and then they would call, if they had to call somebody in to do the patch, it was a part of the work order.
Yeah. I
But
worked
this
on the
was
village
just-
for years and we
This was
patched our
just a
own
different
streets.
situation.
But what my point is, you can't just, if we got something on hold because of funds, seems like you can't come in and just take our money because we're waiting to see what funds we got for that water tank cleaning. If nothing else, the maintenance department could have went up and patched that on Main Street to last until we had to go ahead about the money situation and everything.
Well, the water cleaning thing, that's totally something different as far as the
Right, but
financing.
we put it in our meetings that we wanted to wait and see what that was gonna cost us and everything else.
Before you patch the streets,
Well, yeah, we wanted it fixed permanently, but we wanted at least 2 to 3 bids. We didn't want to accept one bid. And some of the ones, like I said, Complete, a contractor dug up the main to fix it. That contractor is responsible to fix the street. It is not the village's responsibility. It never was and it never will be. That's part of the contractor's bid. MSD comes in and digs the street up, MSD has to fix that street. They just can't leave the hole,
Right.
they have to repair it themselves. So why should we pay for MSD and Complete until we get more bids and everything else and find out if MSD's gonna fix it, is Complete gonna fix it, or what?
Can I say something? But at some point, the village has a responsibility to fix the roads.
The village
If
could,
it
I
went
agree with
that
you
long.
100%.
Right.
You paid $6,000 to fix these holes. You could have fixed these holes, the maintenance department, under $500 to $1,000. I've worked 30 years in Blacktop, I know what it takes. The village could have did it for $1,000.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah, well, I do, I mean, like I said, I blacktop for years. We patched many of the streets. But I can't see going into the waterworks fund and taking the money out without the water board okaying it. That's what I'm saying. So if you just wanna have a special meeting, set up the date, I'm all for it.
that'd be just for the water board.
How about your water committee that's on the council here?
They wanna come to a water board meeting, that would be fine. But I think really what you have to do is you have to look at if the holes were there, how long they were there, and whether the water board was taking action to make the necessary repairs to the holes to prevent the people in the village getting their cars knocked out of alignment, or people traveling through the village getting their cars knocked out of alignment, or whatever, for the sake of cleaning a water tank, which we don't know when it's
Well,
gonna be
it's the
cleaned.
same sense in, you got the holes up there, Village maintenance could have went up there and did a patch job on it to last long enough to find out what was gonna be done about it. I mean, you got blacktop plants open, they could have went down and got 2 tons of blacktop, went up there and patched it until it was decided. What my argument is, how can the village decide to take money out of the waterworks without the water board knowing anything about it?
Water board and the village have distinct responsibilities. And so when you say, you should just, you're telling the council that they should send their maintenance department to go up and fix a water board problem, okay? And I think the real issue is the problem's gotta be fixed for the benefit of the motorists and the community, and to get it remedied as quickly as possible. And if it's gone on for 5 months, that's just too long.
In the meantime, maintenance could have went up there and patched it.
Well,
But that's not a decision for the water board to make, that's a decision for council to make.
Well, council should have made the decision to go over there and do it and patched it. Not to take the money out of the funds without us knowing about it, voting on it, or anything else. And Margaret herself always says you need more than one bid. As
Mayor.
far as we know, we had one
Mayor.
bid.
Yes.
Mr. Nixon, man,
Mhm.
you're gonna have a meeting, we could probably kick this around the rest of the evening.
Right.
Let's get this in
Right.
that meeting, and Bob will be there, I will be there from the committee.
I'll be
I don't know,
there.
Pam is also on the committee, and we'll get it straightened out and address all of your concerns then.
All right.
I appreciate you bringing them to the floor.
Is that the only discussion? All right, call for the vote.
Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Jennifer sorry about that. The wig makes them out. Wiehe,
I
Ann
know, I still
Pillow.
think that too.
Al Glick, Pam Jackson.
Yay.
Mayor, I should have had this in the question part of it. Is there any way of holding this in abeyance? I don't know who these bills are going to. Who gets paid $6,000?
Holmes.
Holmes is the only one? Okay.
Holmes has been paid, Dan.
Oh,
It
they've
has
already been paid?
Council,
Okay.
council approved this
Council approved it.
expenditure
Sure.
about maybe three council meetings ago. It was on the list and it's in the minutes. But they have been paid. It was almost like when they did the parking lot,
Mhm.
they had the equipment
Yeah.
to
I'm good
do,
with that.
I'm sorry, the next thing you have is, the bank reconciliation for the month of July. I have the, UAN bank reconciliation, I have the, summary of funds, cash summary by funds for the month of July that balances the bank statement. And there's a copy of the operating account, a copy of the savings account, and a copy of the sweep account, which has a balance of 30 cents for the month at the end of July, meaning that we are sweeping more money in our operating account to stay afloat, to make expenditures. We're spending it as fast as it's coming in, more or less. The savings is there, the 159,000, whatever. There's a balance in the operating fund, but there again, it's, our sweep account is not getting enough money to keep it afloat. And I do need your approval on that. On my bank statement.
I'll make a motion to approve the reports to council.
I'll second it.
Motion by Pam, second by Al. Is there any discussion? No discussion, we'll vote.
Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Jennifer Wiehe,
Yay.
Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Al Glick,
Yeah.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
Then you received a copy of the Addyston Board of Public Affairs document minutes from the July 10th meeting that was approved at their August 14th meeting. And there is a draft copy of their August the 14th minutes, their collection report, and I don't have a pay ordinance with it. Do you want to table it and bring it back?
I make a motion, we table it then.
Yeah, I'll second the table.
Motion by Dan, second by Pam. Any discussion? No discussion, we'll vote.
No, we're going to table it to vote, I'm sorry.
Yeah, table to vote.
Dan Pillow,
Table.
Yay.
Jennifer Wiehe,
Yay.
Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Al Glick,
Yay.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
Okay. The other thing that I have for council is that with the pending Music in the Park event that's to take place, there was discussion about how we was gonna process cash payments. And I reached out to Scott Kearns, who is our bank contact at PNC, who put me in touch with Kim McBride. And I've worked with Kim McBride probably 20 years ago when Karen Lowe was at PNC in Cleves. But anyhow, she did send me information. They do have a handheld terminal. It's a mobile terminal. The purchase price is $599. And this can be operated by a dedicated, here in the building. It can be used here in the building for when somebody wants to pay water bill or a building permit, that type of thing, where we don't have the access to do that unless the water clerk is here, because she has the only access to do that on her terminal. But anyhow, there is a fee for each transaction. That would be like $2.45 for each transaction, and then there is a monthly fee of $6.95 to have this. But everything would be, if it's inside our building here, it would be set up on a dedicated internet line just for that purpose. And then if council would choose to use it, say at the festival, to, you know, to do credit cards and that at the festival, then we would have it set up with a cell phone, with a hotspot. And this here is a phone that I use only in the village for when our phones are down and I have to communicate with the state of Ohio to do with the UN system. I don't take it, I can go everywhere with it. It's purposely for my purpose to use it here. But that's one option. I know there's other options out there. There's Square D or things like that. And I even talked to the VFW because they have bingo and they take credit card stuff, and they explained that they have an iPod and they have it set up through PNC with an iPod, and it's programmed just for their activities. But I did research it and I brought it back to you so I can refer it to the finance committee or whomever, but it's a little bit of information for you to have to sort of help us process payments a little bit better. Like if Aaron's off down here, I'm sure that we could have it set up where the way it works right now with Aaron is her system is dedicated just going to Mayor's Court. I'm sure that PNC could help us set up the mobile thing where it would go just to Mayor's Court. And then with the water clerk, hers goes in our regular operating account. So that's what this would be set up for. That's not it, but the device would be set up to do that. And like when Ed, the building, the code enforcer's here for permits, we have no way of acting anything unless it's cash or a check or money order that they bring in for those purposes. So that's the information I have, and like I said, I can turn it over to the finance committee and they can dig deeper into it. questions,
Could you repeat the monthly fee?
please?
Can you repeat the monthly fee?
The monthly fee is $6.95. And for each transaction, it's like $2.45, which we normally put right back on the customer. That's what we do with the water and
That
that
was my
too.
next question.
Yeah. So I can turn that over to the finance chairman, if that's your desired, council. I did look into it, so.
We should probably try another company too, just so we
Okay.
have something to compare it to.
Yeah, I know that one of the bands that we're dealing with, they had an application online and it was through, I think it was called Square D. So yeah, we can look around, but like I said, I did reach out to them to get at least some information. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thanks.
All right, thank you, Margaret. Council, before I go on or anything, we have a lot of people out here. I'd like to just go out in the audience if that's okay. Is it Rob Porter?
Yes. Is this where I should stand?
Yep,
Sure.
thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of council. My name is Rob Porter. I was sent to address council by Ahmad Hamaya. He's the owner of the real property located at 81 Main Street in the village of Addyston. Before I get started, I wanted to let you all know that I served as a fiscal officer for Sycamore Township for 32 years. I just retired this last February, so I'm familiar with kind of the operations of how you do things here, and it's interesting to get go back and see how that works. But Mr. Amaya sent me here because he's gotten kind of sideways with your building enforcement code officer, Edward Lindenschmidt. With my experience in local government, I've found that it's better to lower the temperature and get people talking as opposed to getting at loggerheads. That just gets both sides farther apart. Mr. Amaya's had this property, he's had some troublesome tenants, and I helped him get rid of the troublesome tenants, and he's gone in to rehab the property, and he's been working with Mr. Lindenschmidt, but it seems that every time he gets something done, it's like 2 or 3 weeks before he gets back to him, and he's now got a good tenant at the property, and there's always something more to be done, or and he doesn't seem to get back to him quickly enough. And once he was out there working on the property, and the police were called, and he didn't see any. The police didn't do anything. He just didn't. There was no disturbance or anything. He just didn't see what the purpose was for that. He would like to, get his tenant. He's got a good tenant, and obviously the village doesn't want to have empty properties. That doesn't serve the village. It just, we all know the problems that can cause when you have empty properties and not occupied. He's doing his best faith effort to get the property in a good, habitable, safe condition, and we'd just like to maybe see a more prompt response from Mr. Lindenschmidt on his request for permission to have this property permission to rent the property, get it occupied with a good tenant, and
start getting the cash flow into his operation and frankly, everyone's operation, so. That's what I know. He is he does own other properties in the village, and he just sent me up here to try and, as I say, lower the temperature, get some cooperation, and get this property rented. So that's what I know. I'm willing to answer any questions or just, leave you with that thought.
I think the issue is a compliance issue. That's the number one issue, which is compliance, and it's a safety issue. And the village has a couple of these properties that have to be brought up to code, and they can't be rented until they are brought up to code. And what's your client's name?
His name is Ahmad Hamaya.
Okay, if Mr. Hamaya is renting a piece of property that doesn't meet the required code, that's a problem.
He's
And
not renting a piece of property now. He'd like to, and he's been working on this property for months to get it in compliance, and he feels like every time he gets something done, there's something else that comes up. So it's not like he has, well, this is what you need to do to get it to code. He does everything that is on the list, and then something else pops up. So,
are you saying that?
believe me, we don't want to rent a property that doesn't meet code.
Are you saying the other thing that pops up is in compliance with the code, or is out of compliance with the code?
Well, I guess what I'm saying is, when he does an inspection, he gives you a list of things that are, that need to be worked on. He completes everything on the list, and then he comes back and then there's something else, that keeps moving the ball down the field, the goal.
So what you
that's-
want is you want the building inspector, housing inspector to go over there, make a comprehensive list, provide it to Mr. Hamaya, have Mr. Hamaya do the work in a workmanlike manner, and get the property up to snuff in terms of meeting the codes, then that would be wonderful for the village of Addyston.
Right.
And
That's-
so we could probably send the housing inspector over there and notify Mr. Hamaya of all the deficiencies, and then the issue becomes, until the deficiencies are corrected, he cannot rent the property. Because that's what the
No,
code says.
we understand the process. It's just that we don't, as I say, we feel that the goal is being moved on us every time he's completed what he's done, and he'll say, well, that's good, but now this is what we need done.
It's, properties like that for even homeowners, you start at one end of your house and you start working towards the other end, and next thing you know, start property the place where you started initially, you have to go back and start over again. But we can get Mr. Hamaya a list of all the deficiencies, and as long as he doesn't try and rent that property out, it was my understanding that he was going to rent the property out regardless of what the housing inspector said, and that would be a problem.
Well, that would be a problem, but that's not my understanding what was happening. My understanding was he was showing the property to a tenant, and he does have a good tenant that will, occupy the property and pay the rent, but he can't do that because there's this outstanding order that prevents him from doing that. So I think maybe there's a misunderstanding of what was going on.
I'm guessing there is, because that no occupancy permit was put on the property before the tenant was in there. And then the reason the cop was there to just verify that, yes, there is people living in there, it's not supposed to be living in there. And did he mention to you that Scott, as the Miami Township Fire Department Code Enforcement, has also been there to inspect the place and is not okay, that he's not in compliance with the Miami Township Fire Department either. I don't know if he mentioned that to you.
He did not, but, well, that's part of why I'm here. As I
Yeah.
say, I'm here to try and get our mutual goals met. So I assume the Village of Addyston doesn't want to have unoccupied properties in their village, and neither does he. So,
Well,
we want to rent a safe and healthy facility for our tenant, but we also want to be able to know what we need to do to get that done.
is the property occupied now or not
I
occupied?
was just over there looking it over before I came here. It appeared not to be occupied.
I think our understanding is that it is occupied. And if it is occupied, that's gonna be an issue for the fire inspector, and it's gonna be an issue for the housing inspector, and therefore it's gonna be an issue for Mr. Hamaya, okay? And so, I understand what you're trying to do, but you know from your years of experience out in Sycamore Township, the housing inspector, and the fire inspector, they have jobs to do, and as long as they're doing their jobs in compliance with the law, council can't tell them to go violate the law and let Mr.
I'm not asking for that.
Well, I know, but I think,
And I have worked with those type of gentlemen for all those 32 years, so I respect what they do, and I know they have a very hard job.
right, so I think the first issue, what Mr. Hamaya should do is get with the fire department, and get with the housing department, and we can certainly speak with the housing inspector and talk with him about the issues, and get Mr. Hamaya a list of any deficiencies, and Mr. Hamaya can correct them. And as far as the fire department's concerned, that may involve Mr. Hamaya making a trip up to the Miami Township Fire Department to visit with
Do you have a
those
joint
inspectors.
district or something? Is that-
Please?
Do you have a joint district or something?
Yes.
No, we don't have a joint district.
It's not joint.
Well,
We're
I-
contracted with
We're
them.
contracted with Miami
Yeah, I
Township.
know there's various, as I say, it's kind of nostalgic to get back to a meeting like this, but yeah.
Just tell 'em you'll know.
I wasn't aware that there was a fire issue at all, so I'll talk to him about that too. And, as I say, I think the village and he have a similar motivation, to get a safe and occupied dwelling in the village. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go to him. You want? He's got paper. We'll go ahead and go to our new chief, Mike Martenson.
Good evening. Mike thanks for having me. I'd like to extend an appreciation and a thank you for bringing me on board. Very much looking forward to working for the village. And if you ever need anything else, please don't hesitate to reach out to me.
Welcome. First meeting, so not a lot, huh?
I was gonna let the gentleman know, I'd be happy to check the specifics, but it sounds like you already checked it too, as to why they were there.
Well, we'll still need you to work with that too, along with other problem places around here, so we'll get busy with it.
Firefighter Lieutenant King, before he left, I asked him, how our stats were this month, and he said there was nothing unusual, other than a few calls. He said the numbers were pretty consistent with past months this summer.
He did send his report though.
Yeah, I sent that to everybody, so you guys have his report.
I got it the other day.
Done? Thank you, Mike. Kathy?
Is it my turn?
Yeah, I'll just go ahead and get you first, yeah.
Okay, first thing I want to address is I came down and talked to Margret and Dozier about the ordinance about the sidewalks. My understanding is the sidewalks belong to the Village of Addyston. The Village of Addiston is responsible for cleaning those sidewalks. Anything that's on my property, we are responsible for. I've had maintenance workers tell me that's not the ordinance, that I was told incorrectly by the street commissioner. I have pictures of sidewalks down on 50 that have not been cleaned. There's weeds overgrown all over. We clean ours because we don't want our property to look bad. My neighbor on the corner, picking up needles out of his yard from the house at 376. That continues to be an issue. I was told months ago that this stuff was going downtown to the courts regarding the nuisance, the fire nuisance, the fines that he has accumulated, and nothing's been done. It's still continuing. They're stealing bikes. They have people out front arguing and ready to fist fight each other. They had people out there overdosing again. I got it on video on my cameras. It's a mess. The chief did come up, he did walk my perimeter. I told him he was more than welcome to come and walk my yard as many times as he wants. They know he's there, so.
That's good.
So I just wanna know where we are at with the fire nuisance that was placed on that, the public nuisance, and all the other stuff that has been placed, the fines. I mean, he's been fined since what, April 17th, $150 a day.
Yep.
When is this going to be taken care of? I'm tired of living next door to this. They just condemned the house down the street here for being a nuisance or fire hazard. Why can't they condemn that one at this point? Then on the news the other day, they had about that 1-year-old that overdosed up here, and they charged the homeowner for allowing drug abuse in the house. Why isn't this person being charged? He's allowing it. There's overdose all the time down there. Any answers?
That's for the legal counsel.
In terms of your problem, we're working with the fire department, we're working with the housing inspector, and we try to get the health department down here, so we gotta twist their arm to come back down. In terms of, and I was just talking with Mear about this, Mayor's Court is gonna be Wednesday night. We're gonna make sure that those cases are downtown rather than here, because the housing enforcement section downtown is gonna be stronger than what it is here, and I think that's what we told you the last time you were.
2 months ago, they said it was gonna be
that you
taken
were here.
downtown.
And you understand that we really have no direct control over the health department. If it was a matter of calling the health department and saying, we want you out here tomorrow, they would probably not respond because we don't control them. So, and then we run into obstacles with the health department as far as coming out here to do what we want them to do, and that requires phone calls to them, and it requires us to get everything in line. So eventually, you're gonna see the criminal violations be processed, and then you'll see the daily fines being enforced, and you may lose a neighbor down there, but that's
So
what's.
is this gonna be like a couple more years down the line? That's what I'm asking, because it's been 2 years now that I've been dealing with this.
I probably doubt it's gonna be a couple more years. I think it'll work much
I
quicker
mean,
than
I
that.
understand about the Board of Health, but my thing is, they've already been declared a fire nuisance.
You know what? The bottom line of this situation is, if people had their druthers, they'd probably like to get down there and just start dragging people out of the house, but that's not what we can do. So we have to go through these different enforcement vehicles that we have in order to get it corrected and get it
But, I mean, I've
rectified.
seen them taking drugs out of there when they did a probation violation. I've seen people overdose and die over there, and they
Are
can
they
charge
on
this
probation?
grandma.
Are they on
No,
probation?
they went to jail and did their time, but when they did that probation violation, they found drugs in that house. Why wasn't the homeowner charged with having illegal drugs in his house? He just sits there. Nothing ever done to the homeowner. That's my issue. He had the drugs in his house. They brought them out.
Well, there's one more avenue that we could pursue, but we'd have to make some phone calls tomorrow on that. And it might require you to be in touch with some individuals, but we can rectify that. And the other thing, you asked about the sidewalks. 9411, duty to keep sidewalks in repair, clean of ice and snow. no owner or occupant of lots or lands abutting any sidewalk, curb, or gutter shall fail to keep the sidewalks, curbs, and gutters in repair, okay?
Okay,
And
but,
free from snow, ice, or any nuisance, and to remove from such sidewalks, curbs, or gutters all snow and ice accumulated thereon within a reasonable time. And it talks about removing anything that's a nuisance.
okay, so
And there's
the
another
ordinance
one-
that I read was was your property on your property, those sidewalks, the driveways. The village of Addyston owns those sidewalks. I can't go down there and tear those sidewalks out because I don't own them.
You know what, your property extends beyond those sidewalks. Most of the times, your property extends down to the middle of the street. The village or the state of Ohio has a right-of-way over a portion of your property, just like they have a right-of-way over anybody's property. Like, for instance, Main Street here. Technically, these people own out to the middle of the road, okay? But this village has an easement over the roadway in order to place that roadway for vehicular traffic. But, you know, it talks about, you're asking about materials on street or sidewalk. No person shall encumber any street or sidewalk, no owner, occupant, or person having the care of any building or lot of land bordering on any street or sidewalk shall permit the same to be encumbered with barrels, boxes, cans, articles, or substances of any kind so as to interfere with free and unobstructed use thereof. So if your issue is there's grass growing in the sidewalks, etc., believe me, I understand exactly what you're saying. It's like people that cut grass that just blow the clippings out in the street and put their lawnmower away, okay? That's an issue too, and it's kind of like, these ordinances are on the books, but that addresses who's responsible for
So
the
who's responsible to
sidewalks.
clean up all the used needles off the sidewalks?
Whoever the property owner is.
So we're responsible for the drug users to clean up their needles. I'm not touching those needles. What if I get stuck?
Well, you asked me,
I'm just asking you, what if what if a kid's walking down the street and they get stuck? Because these are they're not capped, they're needles that are open.
right, believe me, I understand exactly what you're saying. You asked who's responsible for the sidewalks, whether there's needles out there, cans, or whatever there are, the property owner's responsible. If you think it's a hazardous situation, you can always make a call to the street department, and the street department may have, do you have safety material? Yeah,
But I talked to Danny about the grass and stuff, and he said that the sidewalks were not our responsibility if they were not in our house.
Brought me into the conversation because for
How many years?
50 years of the 100 years of the 75 I've been here,
But
we always, maintenance, I worked in maintenance, that was our responsibility, to clean along the walls, to clean along the curbs. That's been a responsibility of the village forever.
And if we're not gonna do that, we should definitely notify the property owners that
Right.
from now on,
Because
you are
from-
responsible for all this grass that we maintain for
Because
years.
from 376
did.
all the way down, it's all overgrown. We do
We did.
ours because we don't want our houses to look bad,
Right.
you know? But nobody else is, everything's overgrown in the village.
And that's why we brought the kids in every summer, because that's
Because
what
that's what we
they
did.
did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just something we always do.
But Kathy, as far as you asking me for an ordinance like this, not in the 23, 24 years that I know of, and Dan, you was mayor, did council ever adopt something like this saying that it was putting the responsibility back on the
No,
homeowner?
never.
Right.
Can I say something about that? I remember a few years back, which was a few years, talking 10, 15, 20 years ago, the village tried to adopt what the lawyer was reading from the state. But they told the village at the time, because I worked on the maintenance department at the time, the village has to put the sidewalks, the curbs, and 100% fixed before they could turn it over to property owners.
Yeah, we
The
talked
village
about
at the
that.
time
You're right,
said
that is right.
we will not spend that much money to redo all the sidewalks and all the curbs, so the village maintains the sidewalks and curbs.
That is absolutely not correct.
That is correct, because I
No,
was here.
it is not correct.
Yes, it is.
Because what the law says, if you build a subdivision and you're putting in a street, you're putting in sidewalks, anything like that, before the city or the village or the governmental unit will dedicate or accept those sidewalks or whatever, okay, it has to meet the requirements for a roadway
And you're
or
talking,
sidewalks.
you're talking two different things. You're talking about new subdivisions, new sidewalks, new roads.
I'm
You're not
talking,
talking about what
I'm
maintains the
talking,
village.
I'm talking about sidewalks in general. It's right in this book,
So
and
when was that ordinance approved? Because she said it was never approved by the village, by the council,
I'm saying this format,
that format.
this, what
So
Bob's
then
got
they need to
is not
update
what I'm talking
their
about.
ordinance, because from the ordinance I got, it says I'm not responsible.
And you know what? It used to be the big argument, and you probably heard this argument because you've been around that long. And I know Dan Pillows heard this argument, probably Pam Jackson. When are they gonna fix my wall? And essentially, the village got out of the wall business, and now it's out of the sidewalk business. Doesn't mean that it may not come in and fix sidewalks, depending on, you know, if there's an upheaval in the sidewalk, or it's an emergency or something like that, they may fix, you know, a sidewalk to address an emergency. Or if they get a grant or something like that, they may come in and fix the sidewalks. Or say, for instance, like when they fix First Street,
Community
they
development.
may come in, fix the street, fix the curbs, fix the sidewalks, because that's the nature of the grant.
Well, we actually did that. We had them fixed. I was
Community
working at the time.
development
We
and
went through
extended.
town, we had a grant, 40-something thousand
Community
dollars.
development.
Yes, and we went through and we fixed them, but council failed to say, okay, we've got them all fixed now,
You're
they're
responsible.
yours. I wasn't on council at the time, but council didn't do that. So until that time, we haven't changed any ordinances, it's still the same way. If we wanna make it citizens' responsibility, then we have to pass an ordinance. Or whatever we need to do, to say, okay, this sidewalk is yours now, but we don't have anything like it at this time.
Right, there's nothing.
Yeah.
Then my other issue is, multiple times through the evenings, days, whatever, I just wanna know why Addyston police sit down at the park, nobody's over there, they just sit there, or they're behind the VFW hall. When we've got more issues than that park going up in this village with drug abuse, theft, and all that, but they sit over there for hours. As soon as somebody comes over, the police leave. And then that's when you got the kids throwing rocks at the signs and stuff like that.
I
So
wish I
that's-
could agree with you, but they don't leave sometimes.
Yeah, I know, they just sit there.
Sometimes they just
So
sit
we're-
there
so
regardless when we're there.
We're paying for police,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they're just
that's
sitting
only
over
to
there
say
at the
that-
park. For what? For what?
I don't
And
know.
I
who
met the
said
new
this
chief,
for
he
me.
does come, he did come to my perimeter and he walked around, and they know he's there now. That's the first time I actually, well, besides Eric did come down a couple times, but he actually walked the perimeter around all my property, around that fence, and he does come out and sit in front of that house now. Now, at night is when they're doing all their activity. Because believe me, I got 255 videos from my cameras of the activity that goes on over there. So, I don't know what the answer is. I mean, we don't have any police officers. But the lady who owned this house up here and the kid overdosed, she got charged for allowing drug abuse in her house. What's the difference between that and these people down here overdosing?
One thing I would like to share with you is after you explained that to me when we met my second day, I did meet with the officers that do work with us, and I explained to them that when they do have free time, if they have free time, that I want them to spend it in the areas where we are having problems such as that one.
you're the only police officer I've seen since you talked to him.
I agree with you. I think their time could be far more useful somewhere other than the park or behind the VFW.
I mean, what are they watching behind the VFW? That's what I'm asking. What are they actually watching? What can you see behind the VFW hall? What can you see?
I'm not gonna speculate.
Yeah.
So sometimes if they have a report to update, they may stop for 10 or 15 minutes somewhere, but
It's hours, believe me.
I'll
Even
definitely-
Danny
I'll
said
definitely
it's,
pay attention.
they just sit there. So, I mean, hopefully that, now that you're here, things will change. And like I said, I appreciate you coming down there and letting them know that there's somebody here that cares, you know? Because at this point, I mean, it's a mess down there. You've seen it. I mean, they're stealing bikes, they're stealing everything. If it's not nailed down, they're stealing it. Cause they had, I mean, I'm telling you, I thought the guys that were out there arguing with them about bikes, I really thought they were gonna pull guns out or something that day. That's how heavy and hot and heavy it got down there. I was carrying groceries in and I'm just looking like, what the hell's going on, you know? And they were ready to fist fight or whatever. You know, you have all them, I don't even know how many people live there. I mean, there has to be some kind of law that you can't have 15 people living in a 2-bedroom apartment. That's only, I mean, I lived there when my house burnt down and we built a house, it's small. For 5 people, it's small. So, I don't know what else to do. I mean, I've talked to the council, I've even talked to the sheriff's department, but they said they can't do anything till Addyston does something about it. You know, they got other things that they have to deal with too. I mean, just the other day, Josh Rudels was down there high as heck, looked like he was gonna overdose. I'm at the point, I'm not calling nobody, cause if they overdose, it's on them. 1 Narcan, 1 social security number, that's how I feel. You use that Narcan, you're done. Cause we are paying for that Narcan, the taxpayers are paying for that. None of them work over there, not one person works. I mean, they put on their Facebook, I'm 45 years old and I ain't worked a day in my life. I mean, that's how proud they are.
Ms. Bias, you know I sympathize with their situation.
You know,
Because if Lisa lived like that next to me, or I lived like that next to Lisa.
Well, I had
we-
people like that next to me for over a decade. The only reason they're gone because the house got torn out.
But,
Pink house.
you know, this,
Yellow.
every time you come and in between time we come, we kinda end up in the same spot. And I just really would hope that there would be something new and different.
and there's never
Details.
anything new, because I've been watching, I look
I
on
know.
Hamilton County Clerk reports to see if that stuff's down there, so I can go down to court and tell the judge how it is living there.
It's a tough situation.
But there's nothing. This guy owes probably $10,000 in fines. I mean, I'm adding it up. I'm like, Jesus Christ, he's like way over fines. That's money, you're never gonna get that money. You don't come to court. We all know that.
But,
And
you
it
know,
keeps getting continued to the next court date, to the next court
Bob, we're
date.
not continuing this Wednesday again,
No.
right?
Mr. Kelly has put forth another idea. He said in a couple of days, he should know something possibly different, so.
We have
Let's-
I was told that
let's
2
wait.
months ago. too.
I know,
I
you've
know.
been
I
told
don't
that
get
for
any
years.
answers.
I
That's just
understand
it.
that, but we got to let,
the legal.
we all
counsel
hear
take
this, we
care
got
of it.
to let him see if he can come through with
I mean,
something new.
there's gonna be something bad that happens there. There's gonna be a shooting or something. And God forbid if my grandkids are outside and that happens.
We
Because at this
certainly
point, I hold the
understand.
village of Addison responsible, because I've been here, I've talked to you guys, till I'm blue in the face. Something happens to my family, I mean, how are you gonna fix that? You can't. My grandkids get stuck by a needle, you can't fix that if these people have hepatitis or AIDS or, you know, and then my grandkids are exposed to that. I mean, you're looking at me like I'm crazy, and I'm not crazy.
No.
No, we're looking
I'm
at
not
you
looking
like
at you
we
like you're crazy.
Just
are
don't-
feeling.
I'm looking at you like,
Right now.
we've got the fire department working on it, we got the housing inspector working on it, we've contacted the health department, we're working on the issue of putting a lien on the property and maybe foreclosing on the property. And the fact that you come and it takes 2 months, I know it's not the same,
I've been putting up this 2 years.
I know, but you just said 2 months. And the thing that I'm saying is, we really got this thing started, and you have to, I don't wanna even say be patient, you're gonna have to put up with it a little while longer. And I'm not saying that that's the easiest thing to do, okay? I'm not saying that at all, because if I was living where you were living, there probably would be problems.
I mean, if I go over there and I confront them, and that I'm the one that's gonna be in trouble. Because I know my temper, and I know who I come from, and so, I just know, I mean, I've had words with them, and the chief, Eric, said, please don't do it anymore, they're gonna do something to your property or you, you know? But at this point, I'm worried about my safety, my grandkids' safety, my stepdad's safety. You know, it's just like, okay, so I go outside, I have a swimming pool, my grandkids ain't wearing their shoes, they get stuck, then we're here, you know, they may wind up getting something that they can't get rid of. I mean, my neighbor said he picked up 4 or 5 needles out of his yard just to cut his grass the other day. Milt's Transmission has them on the roof. They're throwing them on the roof down there.
I was advised that the dark drug enforcement team has done a search warrant, executed one there, and also.
That was just for the probation violation.
Well, that's what I was thinking. One of the avenues I'll check into tomorrow is there's a possibility someone's on parole or probation, and sometimes the court system doesn't succeed in putting someone away to do time. But if they're found to do something illegal, I could contact.
Well, the 2 girls
parole.
did go to jail.
They could violate their probation and parole if they were on parole.
The 2 girls did go to jail because there was drugs in the house, there was a gun or a machete or whatever in the house.
So I'll
The
find
2
out.
girls did do time.
I'll find out if they're on probation, because that does give some leverage for having someone locked up again. And I'll also ask I'll ask a few, I don't wanna talk about it publicly, but
I mean, I've talked to the drug enforcement agency through the sheriffs, and they always say it's back on Addyston Police Department because they can't step on your toes, is what they say.
it would require an undercover investigation to hold someone accountable there. Everything that takes place there is indoors, and I can't go in their house.
I just don't understand how overdose after overdose after overdose there doesn't qualify as a probable cause. When you got people overdosing, you had somebody overdose and die over there.
Is our fire department responding to those overdoses?
Oh, yeah, they are.
That we should
All
have a
the time.
record of how many overdoses have
It's so
gone
bad,
on?
my stepdad asked him, aren't you tired of coming down here? And he's like, yeah, we are.
I would suspect that the individuals aren't inside the house when they arrive.
Oh, no, they have been, they brought somebody outside on a gurney, yes.
Surprise.
Yeah, my stepdad sat there and watched the whole thing, and he's like, yeah, I don't know who she was 30 years old, 2 kids.
Well, I will contact the fire department tomorrow, since I just met Lieutenant King, and I'll pull the numbers and I'll use that information and what you shared here tonight to reach out to one of the task force, see if they can focus on the property once again.
Okay, I mean, that's all I ask, that something be done, because I'm tired.
I appreciate you bringing it here, and I do sympathize with you.
I mean,
I have children.
you don't even know how many times my phone bings from the cameras all night long. Then you wake up and you look and you see somebody dealing. I mean, it's just like, but we don't have any police here. So, I mean, do I call? You
Well,
know?
Kathy, with all respect, you've been going for 20 minutes. I've been
I'm
pretty much-
done. Okay.
Thank you. Dustin, did you have anything?
I have no items at this time, unless there's questions.
All right, we'll go back to myself. All right, council, I did email you a couple of things I just wanted to talk about. And I hope that y'all had a chance to read it. Want to know what your thoughts as far as Erin's hours with her son starting school, because she has to get him to school, so she was wondering if the council would consider moving the hours from 8:30 to 4:30 or 9 to 5, if possible.
I personally don't have any problems with her hours. I
Or
mean,
take it to a committee.
Could you make it
discussion,
for both? Could
I'm
you
sorry.
make it for both?
Make it for both who?
Both of what?
Well, for the water clerk too, so they're on the same, like, the building's open at 8:30
No.
for all of them.
I don't see what makes any difference.
8:30 to 4:30, you said?
Yeah, she asked 8:30, 4:30, or if you guys wanted 9 to 5, she didn't care.
I mean, I think it's a little better. if the
Gives people
village
more
is-
time.
The building's open a little bit later in the day. So like when people get off work, they can actually stop here and get something done.
Yeah,
I mean, 9 to 5 would be,
she was cool with
Ideal, huh?
whichever.
I think 9 to 5 is perfect.
I mean, that way people get off work, they can actually come down here and get something done instead of getting here and the door's locked. That's my opinion.
Just so everybody knows. what
Yeah,
the
we
new
would
law
just have to
allows.
what
put
you
it
got.
out to the community.
At least I think it would work better in the community for that.
So then how are we gonna advertise the difference between the water and the village,
We'll
the
make
building?
what's
Well,
the same,
today I
right?
asked Lisa Walker if her hours, if it would matter to her, and she said that truthfully, that would help her in a way, because she has a grandson who is now going to kindergarten, and she has to have somebody drop him off at 8:30. Just putting the filler out there to see,
Mhm.
you know.
Well, 9 to 5 would work for her as well.
Well, I'm just saying, she did say, wouldn't bother her, she said the 8
So he
to
started school
8:30.
too, yeah,
Yeah.
'cause he's at 8, yeah.
He's,
that's
because
right.
he's in first grade now. That's what I said, could you just make it so that,
So it would work for both of them?
that way you don't have the
She's
public
happy,
saying,
yeah.
well,
She's
you can go
happy.
there at 8:30 for this, or you go there at 8 for that.
Yeah.
As long as she's on board with it, I don't think.
Because we shouldn't change her hours
We
as
shouldn't,
she's
right,
set,
as long as it's her idea.
right? I mean, as long as she's fine with it. But we have to educate the public.
Well, she could, you
She
know,
could
if
put
the
it
water
on
board
mailer,
clerk
too.
goes with, I mean, if they go with it, it can be put on their water bills,
Yeah.
what the hours are, because it's on there
9
now.
to 5, right?
And just put it on, you know, the building. But I mean, that's when, you know, I asked her just, I said, what would you feel if the hours were like 8:30 to 4:30? And she says, well, actually, that would help me a little bit with Elijah, because now he's going to first grade and he has to be there at 8:30, so that probably would work for her too.
I think the 9 to 5 would probably be good for Aaron. And I think that with Lisa, that we should talk to her and see if she wants to do 8:30 or 9. And see which one works, whatever.
Whatever works with her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
rather than
Before
just
we
say.
put it out there, yeah.
Yeah, we can ask her, or you
Yeah.
talk to her before I do, just ask her tomorrow what she wants to do.
It's
It
another
can
way-
be posted, big sign, with the hours, as well as whatever other way we,
it's another way we'll
communicate.
table that for now, right?
well, I say, let Aaron know that she's 9 to 5. Lisa, we have to wait till
Can
we
you
talk.
make that in formula for the public?
At least let her, yeah, her,
I am willing, if someone shows up that are normal hours from 8 to 9, to try to help as best I can. I could even have a note set up that's urgent, you can't wait till 9 to contact me, I work 7 to 3.
That'd be good.
I'll make a motion to allow to change the hours for the office to be 9 to 5. Let's get used to that.
I'll second.
9 to 5. I'm just kidding.
I thought the same thing when I read it.
Did you
9 to
second
5.
that, Dan? I'm sorry. Motion by Pam, second by Dan. Any discussion? No discussion, we'll vote.
Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Jennifer Wiehe,
Yay.
Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Al Glick,
Yeah.
Pam Jackson.
Yay. Okay. And also one of the other things I was, sent out to you guys, I was talking about the TAC officer and the reason why I wanted to keep, Penny Camp as a part-time. And I still would like to keep him as a part-time, either we don't or we do, and I want a definite answer on that one. So that he can continue to do TAC. Now, the new chief is, we can't get anybody else certified for TAC till October, is it?
Yes, you have to go through this program, You have to have significant knowledge and experience to understand the program itself. So it'd be very hard for me to hire someone fresh and expect them to be able to absorb the information shared and perform optimally as a TAC officer. He has enormous background and he's a resource, and I think he would be very helpful until I do have someone on board who could possibly assume that role. We do need those terminals, and if we're in violation, they could pull them out of our agency. And he's willing to help out, and I would like to keep him part-time if possible.
I said all this too.
Is there, are there other TAC officers, I can't remember, who work for different departments?
You mean
Like-
for
Like,
us?
yeah, if there's a TAC officer who works for Delhi, or a tax officer who works for some other agency.
They will not come into your agency and do it.
Okay.
Yeah,
You
every
have to
agency's
have your
required to have
own,
one.
the agency is required to have their own TAC officer.
Because we had a guy who came in specifically for that
Barry.
some years ago.
We had Angie, we had Barry, Dorian was TAC too. Even
Yeah.
before he was chief, he was the one doing all the TAC work.
Yeah, even while Chief Von Lardy was here, we had a guy who would come
Yeah.
in.
Just for
and
TAC
He worked
reasons.
somewhere else, so I just wondered if that was a possibility.
Oh, he definitely was on our roster if he was
Yeah.
doing it here.
Right,
He was
But-
part-time or,
but I think he was hired just for that,
he was hired for
That
that
purpose.
reason, yeah.
and I think we questioned that at one time.
Mhm.
Because you have to have them on your roster in your own agency.
I think you would see him to come in and conduct training, provide the tests that are necessary for people to be certified, and also to prepare for audits, because you get audited every year.
Well, the mayor's asked for an answer, yay or nay. Is anybody else? Yeah, I don't mean to try to take over the meeting, but clock keeps ticking here.
Yeah, it does.
And I need, if anybody's got any feelings about it, I guess we need to say it, or just tell the mayor she's gonna have to wait. My other question is, how long do we have to come into compliance on this TAC officer? It is a requirement. It's a requirement, so how long do we have to?
We did, we reached out to them and they scheduled a date for me. I'm certified as a user from where I was, but I'm not a TAC officer. I was years ago at the city of Hamilton. And I have to attend a couple of days, a 2-day course, I believe, to be a TAC. And I think he'd be a great resource to me until that time comes. I think he offered it, he would be doing me a favor, I think, to stay on at least long enough for me to make other arrangements.
My question is, legally, when do we have to have a TAC officer? Are we in some sort of out of compliance where we'll be fined or found in some,
That's a great
situation we don't want to be in?
Great question. There's a grace period, so as they scheduled my training, they wouldn't take any kind of action or hold us in non-compliance up until I'm able to attend training
Is this correct?
or until I retain
For how long
someone
we got to come
who is a
to
TAC
Congress
officer.
with you?
That's nice.
So if we don't have one, there's no ramifications.
No one knows how to use the system right now, so if you have any questions, I need to have someone to reach out
Trying
to.
to get as much information around the table as possible.
So can you use the equipment and not be certified?
I can view information as a user, but I would not be able to provide guidance to someone who needed to send an important teletype. For example, if a Montana calls and we have someone with a warrant, they expect a response, and they expect a response done properly and formatted properly, and that's something you learn in that training program. I wouldn't want to have someone make a mistake and release someone without having a hearing or validate a warrant that didn't exist. And it's just very important for that training to be in place. And he would be a phone call away if I had a question or needed any kind of assistance. And he would also be willing to come in and help out any way he could to prepare for audits too. He seemed like a very nice man, and I think his motives are honorable.
So you're saying that we will not be fined or in trouble if we don't have it, but you're saying it'll be beneficial to have it?
Yeah, I think we all agree to that, yeah.
I think you should ask Bob too.
Until he's certified, yeah.
I was listening, that's why
Oh,
I said what I said.
They'll take them out if you don't have it. That's, and then they take them out.
you might as well
That
shut
would
the doors
be,
and call it
that would
quits.
be catastrophic.
They're tolerating it until we have someone in place or someone's trained, because they're scheduled and they're aware of it, but they could take them out if they chose to.
Well, I would be fine with Eric coming in to help through that period. I have no problem with that, with him coming in to get our tax situation situated. Beyond that, I think council has to make some decisions. That's just my feelings.
So are we gonna put him on the roster for part-time or no? Cause if he's gonna come in and do it, we should pay him for it.
Or is it like we did in the past, hire just for TAC officer? Like we did, I
You
can't
would just,
remember the
it's like
person's
hiring
name.
for the part-time, but that's what he comes in and does. That's his focus. And he said he would help with the evidence room as well. That would be the focus, yes.
I'm concerned right now is that we get, chief he's willing to take on that role as well as TAC officer. I'm just concerned about getting him trained to take that position. And
The training is scheduled, and after I complete the training, my goal is to hire someone who has experience in that area.
Sure.
And I can train them as well. It's free training. So
Yeah.
it would be great if I could have two people, because you're supposed to have a TAC and an assistant. To keep your terminals, you don't want to have a pulled from the agency. In the meantime, I can call the dispatch center if I have questions regarding a teletype or how to respond to it.
Right.
That would be enough to keep us out of trouble and not make mistakes.
Right.
But I think he'd be a resource. He also said if you had a special event or an emergency, he would be happy to assist if he was able to or available. And it would be primarily for that purpose.
When's that TAC training, October what?
It's in September, the end of September.
Oh, September.
I've stated how I feel. Hire, if you need Eric to help get trained, prepare for that, I'm good with that. But anything beyond that, I think council has to make a real decision on Eric. What the mayor's question is, should Eric Pinningham be part-time? I've heard a lot of discussion, but I didn't hear it much now. Just saying.
So are you saying as a part-time officer, or you wanna see him as just a TAC officer?
Right
still
now,
has
I'm
to be
just saying, I
paid.
wanna make
He
sure
has to be
that
paid.
he's
He has to be
available to
paid.
help.
It's a paid position, that's
Can
what
you
I
do it
guess.
by ordinance
Yeah,
that specifies it?
we can't, yeah, we'd have to do that.
Yeah,
If we're not.
okay.
He
Okay.
has to be a peace officer to serve as a TAC.
And all I'm saying, if it takes a week or 2 weeks, that's fine, if that's what the chief feels best about. But beyond, Eric coming back as a part-time officer, that's something that I think we should have a recommendation on. The mayor's given it to us several times. Heard a lot of talk about it, but I don't hear people saying,
Can I share my perspective on that?
Huh?
Occasionally, you'll have employees who will leave for different reasons. You may have someone who has a pension that they have to retire for 2 months to get that pension, and then they want to come back. That's perfectly logical and makes sense to me. And I can understand where it may be frustrating for someone to leave and come back, but it's very challenging right now to find full and part-time officers. And if we have someone who is knowledgeable, provides quality customer service, and hasn't been a disciplinary problem, I don't see a downside unless there's, information that I'm not privy to.
I remember asking you that question specifically. Our major problem is having people here, and you said you pretty well could handle that. You had a remedy for
That's
that.
true.
So,
I mean, you have
but
to
it's
find-
difficult. So there's, I just get the feeling that council is not comfortable as a whole with Eric coming back for whatever reasons. You know, he left, and we were in a tough situation when he left, but I never hold it against anybody.
I mean, it's not
Betters
that, he didn't do
themselves.
it because he hates here, he liked his job here.
Because of what, Mayor, I'm sorry.
I said he didn't leave because he didn't like it here, he liked his job here, but
Yeah.
the job thing that he got with the, you know, he's not even,
Yeah,
with the offer he got, it's, when it boils down to it, it's about family.
Yeah.
With, you know,
I mean,
supporting your family.
I wouldn't have a problem making a motion for ordinance, just make him a TAC officer until he gets trained. I mean, if we gotta have one, we've gotta have one, but if,
Well, that's sort of where I was,
Yeah.
you know, but
it's where I'm
I
at
just
with it.
need to figure out what we all wanna, how we all feel about it.
If he needs a
and
tack
why, so
officer,
Mayor will know.
Yeah, because I don't
More or less, he's
understand
just
this,
gonna call
I'm
him
really
for
at a
the tack
loss.
officer.
I really
Right.
just really lost.
He would have to be categorized as a part-time officer or a full-time officer to be a TAC. So he has to be a part-time officer. That's how I would utilize him as the TAC. We can't, I've never known an agency to just hire someone as a TAC. You have to be a police officer serving the agency.
Yeah, I think we did, but we didn't understand it that way. Because we had someone that just did TAC,
Or
and
you
they were
could be
never
you
on the
could be a
road.
dispatch communications
Was
supervisor
he-
possibly.
They were on
Yeah, I
our,
thought so.
they were on our roster.
Yeah,
We paid them
Right.
TAC officers.
but that's all they did.
Yeah,
But
From
they
my
have to be,
understanding.
they were still considered part-time to do
I have
that.
to,
Right,
I have
yeah,
to let OPADA know, the Ohio Peace Officer Training, know that he's an officer.
right.
I believe in the past, in the minutes where, say like Angie Bauer, when she, whatever her name is, when she was here, she was hired as a part-time officer, and she served as the TAC officer.
Yeah.
She's the most recent one I can think of that was specifically, I
Yeah.
guess what I was saying
Yeah.
was if you hire,
yeah.
you know, do it with Eric, I think it should be by ordinance to clarify that he is a police officer serving in the capacity of your TAC officer.
But did she work for some other agent? Did she get out of policing? Because I know she got to
She-
be specifically our TAC officer.
Yeah, I don't know, I haven't,
That's all she came in.
Can I ask if he wanted to serve as a part-time officer, would he be approved, or would that be, is there an issue with the
I
serving?
sort of wonder, you know, I guess it wouldn't, you know, right now, you know, like with him was paying into Ohio Police and Fire, now he'll drop back and he'll be paying back into OPERS because it's the state,
Right.
their rule that you have to be full-time to be into their agency and the other is part-time.
He's
So
aware.
there's, I mean,
Yeah,
those
he's
are
aware
those
of that.
kind of things, so. Oh, you're not gonna be what's tonight too.
I mean, I'm curious, we're bleeding essentially. I mean, we have open wounds and bleeding, we don't have cops.
Yeah, because there is another
And
gentleman who wants to
that's
come back
just-
to work here.
I'm baffled.
He left for his pension.
Who's that?
Who is that?
I can't recall his name. He left here, Luke?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's,
the
but I
legal
wanna
fees.
deal with Eric's situation first. Either they do or they don't. I mean, we're bleeding out, we don't have officers. If they don't, they don't. We move on. I have no idea why.
Okay. And you want him to be a patrol officer?
I mean, I would like that if he was able to fill shifts, of course, but mainly TAC, we have to have TAC. And I mean, I don't know if council could tell me why, I mean, we didn't fire the guy, right? No? Did we discipline the guy? No. So I'm at a loss. I'd like to give him an answer though, so if we don't, we don't.
Is there something, you know, kind of kicking all these cans down there, is there something the police committee could come back with a formal answer to council on, or we table it, or we have to do something?
Yeah,
Well, I'll make the motion that, it sounds like certain people wanna have a TAC officer, at least do that. Make him a part-time officer to do our TAC until our chief is trained and that whatever the committee comes back with, what they wanna do to put him on the road or whatever that
I'll second.
situation is. Cause we need that for sure.
Yeah,
We
we have
can't,
to.
our department has to have that.
Motion by Pam, second by Dan.
Part-time officer to serve as your
Right,
TAC officer.
yeah.
The rate of pay is gonna be what the part-time officers make now, the $20.51.
Mhm.
Wow, we paying our guys that much now? Wow, we get nothing.
It ain't that much considering.
We're moving on.
I'd rather go to Amazon and get $25 an hour.
Right. No risk.
Call for the vote.
Dan Pillow,
Yeah.
Jennifer Wiehe,
Yeah.
Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Al Glick,
Yeah.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
Thank you.
And then refer it to the police committee
Yeah.
to discuss the rest of it.
Are we also gonna have Bob bring an ordinance that specifies that,
Tag.
that he is part-time police
Bob, is that-
officer serving
that what
as
we need?
TAC?
Do we need that, Bob?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and also the other thing I wanted to bring up, Jake Tenbrink. He never really wanted to quit, didn't quit essentially, but took the leave because he had to get his OPERS out. He didn't realize when he started here that he couldn't get his OPERS out and taken care of. So he had to be out of the system for 90 days, and he would like to come back. And I would like to recommend him to come back because he didn't leave on bad terms either.
I make a motion that, we can discuss this, but I will make a motion that we, hire him, or rehire him.
I'll second it.
He's a decent guy, we can discuss
Motion
it.
by Dan, second by Pam, thank you very much. Any discussion? No discussion, we'll vote.
Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Jennifer Wiehe,
Yay.
Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Al Glick,
Yeah.
was that a yay?
Yeah.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
Well, I mean, he's sitting back, so I couldn't.
No, I looked over at my phone, I was like, oh, it's me again. It's back to me.
Oh, and I just wanted to make a mention in case anybody around council didn't know this, but Susan Lloyd spoke to me.
Say it again, Mayor.
Susan Lloyd
Yes.
spoke to me, I didn't know if any of you knew this, but her, during when we had the flash floods, her niece got swept away in one of these flash floods. And to this date, they still have not found her yet.
Oh
So
my
she was
God.
just asking if council would
Yeah.
give her some prayers,
Oh,
send some love her
absolutely.
direction.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Where, which one? Which area? Was it flood?
Where was that at? She
Out
said,
in-
I forget where it was, but
Yeah, San Diego.
it got really, no,
No, it
around
was here.
Here?
It was around
Here.
here,
When we had those warnings for flash floods that evening,
Yeah.
we did get some flash floods and her niece got caught up in it.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
And they still haven't found her, so she just
Oh, my
wanted me
God.
it was, it was.
She
here
asked me to
someplace.
bring it to council and ask for your prayers.
Absolutely. Oh my God.
Okay, make sure I don't have anything else. All right, Bob, it's your turn.
I have an ordinance authorizing the village to enter into an amended funding agreement between the Board of County Commissioners, Hamilton County, Ohio, and the Village of Addyston to administer a 2023 small event grant.
It's encyclopedia.
Yeah. It's essentially the same ordinance and that you originally passed, but in section 3, it has all the documents that they require for this. And those are the documents that are attached to this ordinance, so that once council passes this, Margret can just take this one document and send it down to the county and say, we're in compliance.
All right, I move to suspend the rules, read it, the ordinance by title only 3 times and declare it an emergency.
I'll second it.
Motion by Pam, second by Al. Any discussion? No discussion, we'll vote.
Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Jennifer Wiehe,
Yay.
Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Al Glick,
Yeah.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
First reading, an ordinance authorizing the village to enter into an amended funding agreement between the Board of County Commissioners, Hamilton County, Ohio, and the Village of Addyston to administer a 2023 small event grant. Second reading, an ordinance authorizing the village to enter into an amended funding agreement between the Board of County Commissioners, Hamilton County, Ohio, and the Village of Addyston to administer a 2023 small event grant. Third reading, an ordinance authorizing the village to enter into an amended funding agreement between the Board of County Commissioners, Hamilton County, Ohio, and the Village of Addyston to administer a 2023 small event grant.
I'll make a motion to adopt as read.
I'll second it.
Motion by Pam, second by Al. Any discussion? No discussion, we'll vote.
Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Jennifer Wiehe, Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Al Glick,
Yay.
Pam Jackson. This
Yay.
will be number 19.
Next item I have is a resolution approving the appointment of Michael Q. Martinson. Did I pronounce that right?
Yes,
To the position of interim village marshal of the Village of Addyston Police Department.
I'll make a motion the rules be suspended, said ordinance be read 3 times by title only and declared an emergency.
I'll second it.
Motion by Dan, second by Pam. Any discussion?
Only discussion, this is interim because we have to go through a probationary period.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
And call for the vote.
Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Jennifer Wiehe,
Yay.
Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Al Glick,
Yay.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
First reading, a resolution approving the appointment of Michael Q. Martinson to the position of interim village marshal of the Village of Addyston Police Department. Second reading, a resolution approving the appointment of Michael Q. Martinson to the position of interim village marshal of the Village of Addyston Police Department. Third reading, resolution approving the appointment of Michael Q. Martinson to the position of interim village marshal of the Village of Addyston Police Department.
Make a motion that the resolution be adopted as read.
I'll second it.
Motion by Dan, second by Al. Call for the vote.
Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Jennifer Wiehe,
Yay.
Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Al Glick,
Yay.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
This will be number 9. It's a resolution.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Bob. Dan?
Okay. Yeah, I just have just a few updates. It's been like herding cats, and I got back off vacation and talked to 3 or 4 of the people who are presenting requests for proposals. Looks like everybody's finally got in line. You know, one company wanted to do the concrete, so no, it has to be, you guys get together with a playground company. Finally, they got that through their head, and I got a call from a couple of them today. I didn't get there, they said, well, we'll get it into you hopefully by Wednesday, so we'll have the requisite number of quotes to send to the county. I mentioned this to council before, but I think it bears repeating. The amount of money that we're getting from the county, I don't have it in front of me. Does anybody remember what we talked about off the top of our head? Margaret, do you know off the top of your head?
Is this for the basketball?
For the basketball court.
I get this one confused with the other grant that we applied for up.
County's 19.
Is it 19?
It's 19 something from
Yeah,
our ordinance.
19 and
And
then,
30,
19 something and then the 30, 15
Then the
and
30.
14.
yeah,
yeah.
then the money we had left, yeah.
yeah, it's gonna be considerably lower than our bids are gonna come in. I know. So I don't know what we're gonna do when they come in. I'll send them to the county and tell them that, you know, none of the bids were in line with what we do. I know for a fact that one of the, well, I can't say that in the open because it'll be on air. But I know that there's one, we don't know what the amount of money we're getting is over by about $12,000 from the time we sort of put this together. We knew we were gonna have to come up with some money, but nothing like that. So, and I don't know what the other two are gonna be.
Yeah, when they raised it to prevailing wage, it jumped it
Prevailing
up.
wage, you're absolutely right, drove the price way up. So I don't know, we need to have some discussion at some point. As soon as I get them in, we'll have to bring them here for Margret and I, or whoever wants to be here on that day, when we get those quotes.
When you get them for me to be here so we can open them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, they won't necessarily be,
They're not
they're
gonna be
quotes,
sealed?
not
They're just-
bid, so they won't
Okay,
be
they're
sealed.
quotes,
Some of them
okay.
will be emailed,
All right.
but they'll all come
Okay,
where Margaret can witness them, the mayor, whoever
Yeah.
else, whenever I get them all.
just let me know.
Yes,
Yeah, because that's
And,
not like a traditional bid opening.
yeah. At that point, that's pretty much where, we're close, but I thought we were close a month ago. So anyway, that's pretty much where we are. And from that time, when we make that information available, we'll decide what and if we're gonna be able to do anything with that, what we'll be able to do. Okay, I had several phone calls and that's been taken care of, for the 81 Main Street. Oh my God, the town was hopping about that. So anyway, we've gotten, what was the lawyer's name again?
Rob Porter.
Ron Porter, okay.
Rob.
Rob, thank you. So we have,
The
his
third.
firsthand information now.
The third.
The third. Okay. That is what I have right now. I just
Did
kinda-
you want to bring up that grant?
The grant, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We should
yeah,
talk about that.
Okay, yeah, it's here. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that council knows, this is gonna be available. And, council has to make a decision if there's something they wanna apply for. This grant money is probably a no-brainer to apply for,
Right.
but, and as I said, I'm willing to work on it, but if council, whatever council wants to do, we'll make a decision on that. About the uses.
Right, and we only have till the 25th, is that right?
Today's
Yeah.
the 21st.
Oh, yeah, it's
So we got
fast.
4 days.
Buckle down.
Yeah, that's the reason I
we're
initially
here.
kind of said,
Right.
because we've got a few days to get all the stuff in. Not limited to trails, business district redevelopment, community visioning, and strategic planning. These grants should set the stage for future community development block grant and home projects. So as you read down a little further, it needs to benefit residents and businesses in a low to moderate income area, which is where we are, create or retain jobs for low to moderate income employees and/or remove slum and/or blight conditions. We always can use money for that.
That's what I think too.
And I think also using money for that fulfills one of the things that they talk about, that this can lead into better change in the housing in the community. So I think it kind of throws everything, in perspective. Acquisition of property, for example, assemble land for redevelopment, demolition of property. And so these are type of activities that can go on in that, so.
Yeah. I think we should apply and go after the demolition,
Okay,
because that's kind of simple enough to apply for it, because we only have till Friday. Apply for it and do it towards demolition of properties.
yeah, because.
I mean, that's kind of simple.
Unless you
don't have
guys
a
got a
problem with that.
project on the table that's already sort of in the works.
Yeah, trying to think what else.
I mean, what else do you have that's in the, that's kind of, I just
Yeah.
want to see, what do you have that's in the works?
We've
Just
done
Maybe you're
something.
halfway or something?
Wouldn't we plan, putting something on pre-planning in our meeting? Didn't we put something there?
On the housing?
Yeah. Pre-planning for, like taking over these properties or whatever. Those they was
Yeah.
getting tore down on or whatever.
Yeah, and,
Develop them in the community.
yeah, in talking
Pretty sure
with,
we talked about that.
Chris Snyder, from planning, you know, he's one of the guys, two guys that are listed as gonna handle this grant. He said we can merge some of these things together. So that we can use so much for, sort of, visioning or planning of what we'd like to do. Al, if I'm correct, if I'm reading you correctly, yeah.
Yeah, I know we talked about that.
Yeah,
When we had our meeting, we talked about that.
yeah.
Trying to get something in and vision for when something comes up like this.
Yes, yes,
I have to go back and look at
acquisition,
my notes.
I know, I don't know, I can't remember.
yeah, acquisition
I have to go
of
back and look
property,
at
so
the
we
notes.
have the property,
I know we
Right.
talked about something pre-planning
yeah.
for when something like this comes along.
So, yeah,
Go back.
we can throw in the visioning part of it, the demolition part of it, and sort of, pre-planning, that can all go into
So you
that.
can do it all together then?
Yeah, absolutely,
Sounds like the best plan.
yeah, because we don't have to just say one particular thing.
Right.
That's why I called him, he says, no, you can incorporate a lot of things that are going to make the community better.
What about like on, our water problem on the alley? Can we use something like this for that?
Water problem.
Yeah, you know about, well, we went up there and it didn't work, the temporary fix,
Oh, homes.
yeah, on the third alley.
Yeah.
Maybe,
Cause
Everywhere
it
they,
says,
public infrastructure
extension of
improvement.
streets, construction, or,
Streets, yeah,
Where
Which
they
third
put it
alley
in
is in
wrong.
complete shambles.
yeah.
Yeah.
That or second hand, all those walls crushing down up there, they saw us up there, look pretty bad.
Yeah.
mhm.
Oh,
It's
with
holding
that
them.
road shifting,
Yeah.
yeah, it's taking its toll on the walls too.
Yeah,
Which walls again?
on second hand,
The walls that we
Wall
don't
goes
use.
Yeah,
all the way
yeah,
down.
that all was
Did you
crushing
notice
in the
it?
streets from when last time I was up there.
Well, do we have the solution to that problem in place?
No, not really.
Well,
See,
we
that's a
can't-
big, big problem.
We shouldn't be doing anything
Yeah.
to the walls until we know what's gonna happen, or they'll wash out again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's probably gonna be
Yeah.
with another grant when they do the roads.
Right,
absolutely, yeah, absolutely,
but I know the second hand, that's a problem.
yeah.
It's the,
And I know it's not tall.
No, I mean Second Street, I don't know why I keep saying
We
second
can
hand.
do something.
Oh,
with that
okay,
third alley.
where we at?
did they get paid?
Well, both of them, but Second Street was the first one I was thinking about.
Okay, what walls there, Pamela?
Not, no, second, no,
Not the
second
walls.
hand the walls, but
Okay.
Second Street is the, where we had
Sure.
temporary fix it,
Absolutely.
and then it
That-
didn't
They
really,
didn't put it in the right
where we
spot.
wanted it,
They
yeah.
Exactly.
had to come down and around.
The problem is still not
Yeah.
corrected.
Right.
So
I
when
think we can incorporate that
Yeah,
as a
I think
part
that
of it.
would fall
Because
in
this
here.
is this is the pre-app to say,
Right.
yes, this is what we'd like to do. Then the
Right.
final app comes when?
Yeah, the pre one's easy to get in, figure
Yeah.
out what you wanna do and then put it
Yeah,
Yeah,
in. Yeah,
absolutely.
I think we should
talk
list
about
all
an
that.
action plan, can't you submit that?
that housing action
Which one?
plan, as she mentioned.
Mhm.
At least you got your name in there.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, we gotta throw something together.
okay. I'm willing to jump on it, but Mary, you'd like to do it, I don't have a problem, just do it so it gets done.
I'm good with it, I just figured y'all need to hash it out as a body,
Right.
as a full
okay.
body, what are you
All
gonna
right.
do?
So I will go to work on this and get it back to council within the next couple of days, so, you know.
Yeah, 'cause you got till the 25th.
Yeah, I mean, we can approve what we've talked about, but I want to get back to you and show it to you
Right.
again, what it looks like.
Yeah, 'cause we had pre-planning for housing. Almost positive of that. We had it in
Yeah,
your
that's
paperwork.
right,
Yeah.
right, there's
When we
something
went
that we
through it.
did, I know, I just can't remember.
Absolutely, yeah,
Friday,
absolutely.
I can't do
Yeah, cause
Friday.
that's why they had us in the list for this, because of that housing, planning that we did.
I think April even
2020.
referred to that.
That's, what yeah, cause we
Yeah,
did that in
there's several
2020,
things,
so
yeah.
that's what she's referring to.
Okay, so, if we can get a motion to move forward on that?
Yeah,
Make a motion, we apply for the mini grant planning program.
Second it,
Motion by Al, second by Pam. Any discussion? No discussion, we'll vote.
Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Jennifer Wiehe. Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Al Glick,
Yay.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
Thank you. Thanks, Mayor, for reminding.
Not a problem, thank you, Dan, for being speedy on that.
Yeah.
Jennifer,
This time?
Miss Ann.
Okay. Wanted to do an update on the park. Since council last met, to say that we managed to get the adult swings in, which have been well received. And also we remulched the playground area. So those are the main things that we've done there. We also have orders for three benches, of the memorial benches. So, and we'll have to set up a meeting for the committee, and I'll get back with Margret and let her know when that's gonna be. And the other thing that I checked on was the memorial bricks out front. I contacted the monument company that did the bricks before.
They're still in business?
They're still, that's what I was wondering. And they will do it $20 per brick, 2 lines per brick, 14 characters. And,
Per line, right?
14 characters per line, yes.
Okay.
Yes, yes. I had this all typed up, but I couldn't get it to print, so. And, the other thing that we need, I checked with Dustin to make sure we still had bricks, because we had a supply of bricks, which we supplied every time we had them done. So we would supply the bricks. Dustin, could you bring us a few bricks down so we can make sure we got the same bricks?
Don't know if they're, might
Yeah.
wanna check.
In
and see
case
if
the-
there's-
Might be a different brick.
Might have to take them out front. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I began to work on the list of people who've been on the council and are involved since 2006 or 7. But I'm gonna have to go back and look at more, trying to figure out who was here, who left, who was appointed in their place. A lot of stuff. And if anybody really has a great desire, come on board.
I think your best ally is gonna be Ms. Dozier. But I'm more than willing to do anything I can.
I'm already counting Ms. Dozier on that committee.
I wouldn't mind helping you out with that, you have back names, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
So-
mind helping you with that.
So I've done, like I say, I've got those names and things, but then I know there's some that needed to be corrected. We have a lot that need to be updated.
Yeah,
Like
I'd
from
start
two-
with
like from-
probably the
Like from
updates.
206,
Mhm.
for sure. And then I know that Jason Fry says that his father's brick is incorrect. So we had to find out when his last served on council.
He was on water board. Was he ever on council?
He was never on?
No.
I
he
don't
was
think
ne-
so.
Okay.
He was only on water board.
Okay, so then we
I
said,
think so.
excuse me, find the dates, because Jason says what's out
If
there.
we can find those records.
Yeah,
So that's, the last time we did this, Racis and Peg were here, they did a lot of work with that.
And is there any possibility you work with the Board of Elections?
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that,
They can give you a list of everybody.
Yep.
Yeah.
For who got appointed.
the appointment-
Yeah,
appointments
except the
on
appointments.
those.
They
They
that-
They
get-
still should have it, though.
I send I have to notify them and send their information.
Well,
When
that's
somebody
outstanding.
resigns and somebody takes a
Makes it
seat,
easy.
uh-uh,
Yeah,
they,
that helps. 'Cause
Actually, you can get on our website and even look up, election results.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, it'll show election results, but it won't show the appointments, and stuff like that. will
It won't, but at least you, like that,
Yeah,
Mhm.
but yeah, you'd have to
Yeah.
call them
Yeah.
for the appointment.
so I will contact the Board of Elections and see what I get. Then I'll get back with everybody else. And other than needing to schedule that Parks and Playgrounds Committee meeting, that's all I have.
Thank you, Miss Ann. Al,
We have nothing at this time.
Pam,
let her get at it.
Oh, yeah. Well, one thing, We Thrive had a meeting and I was the only one that was available. You guys, the pillows were out of town.
Yeah, I let
And
her
the
know
mayor,
that.
I think she overslept that day or something. I don't know. She was sick too, so whatever. And Margaret, I think she was busy. So I was the only one there, and that was the day that, what's his name, Gage from Hamilton County, I always
Bradford.
forget his. Yeah, that's
Gage
it.
Bradford,
From the county,
solid waste.
yeah, he came out to discuss what about the recycling that we had
Mhm.
talked about in a previous meeting. So he did show up, he had all kinds of ideas, but they need a commitment from council. I did email him, let him know that we did not meet until today, that if, you know, they wanna make sure, he said a lot of times, you know, he'll come out to a community, they say they're on board with it, and then he gets no backing. He wants to ensure before he goes to fight for us to, cause they're gonna choose some, community by the end of this month. So we're kind of towards the end, so we need to notify him if council is interested. The things we talked about maybe putting a recycling over by the firehouse. He even mentioned something about in the park, some bins, and he had all kinds of ideas. Nothing in concrete, but he also brought up like the apartment. I was like, I don't think so. I don't think we would go for that. Putting a station out to the harbor view.
Right.
And I was like,
It's private property.
I said, that's not really village, that's
Yeah,
why I
that's
said village, I
private.
said, that's a private property, so we said, we really thought the firehouse would be convenient next to the park, or something here in our parking lot, whatever would work as a drive up, drop off. And we talked about doing something small, maybe, and then bigger, it's just, he had a lot of ideas. But the main thing we need to do is let them know that we are committed to this. And I said, I don't wanna speak for the whole council, but I'm sure that they all are on board with that, whatever we can do to, you know, help that along. Because we explained to them about how we have recycling, but the residents have to pay for it, and they just don't want that extra expense when we did get very little back from it.
Yeah. I thought about the bicycle rack that we have out here.
Yeah.
That is, the park is gone. That could be an area that we,
Yeah.
depending on how big the bins are,
Right,
that people can drive through and do their recycling
Take
through our
the bike thing
driveway.
down to the
Right.
park.
It's probably about as big as the one they got down there at the VFW.
and there
Probably
could,
about the same
Not
thing.
yeah, because it could be different things. That's something I guess we'll discuss later. He just wanted to know what
We need a commitment.
if we were committed to doing the recycling program. There's other things, there's all kinds of grants, so we could get funding. Talked about having, there are clubs out there. I said, I don't know if we have a recycling day or something, I guess we could, there's all kinds of opportunities to draw attention to recycling that he would help us promote. And, talked about they have a community, that's him. I'm trying to remember my notes, it's been a while. They do joint projects, internship programs where they would pay 75% and the village would have to pay 25 to have a person come here. Say if we had a specific project, maybe one day had some kind of, I don't know if it was trees or whatever we were doing that day, recycle, something like that they could, that's something possible too. He said there was all kinds of outreach out there that they could hook us up with. So I think it's a great idea just to see if it doesn't work, if the residents don't get involved, at least we tried. So,
I would make a motion that we have a vote of confidence from the entire council to commit to the program.
and this would be a two-year project,
Yeah, and then we can fill in the blanks later.
right, more or less.
Yeah.
Because with no one else being here, I said, I'm just giving you some of
Right.
things that I remember we talked about, but I'm sure everybody else might have had more.
Yeah.
Got a motion second?
I'll second it.
Motion by Dan, second by Al.
Hey, when they have them We Thrive meetings, can you put them on the email? Cause
Sure.
for some reason, I don't even think about it, because it's early in the day, and I'm like, I just don't
I
think
get
about
so
it.
busy, I actually forget that we even have them.
Yeah, they're usually
So, like,
11:30.
It's once
Yeah.
a month, yeah.
It's usually
Yeah,
the,
put it on the email or something.
it's
and
usually
send
the
it.
second Wednesday at 11:30, but yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I appreciate that.
just in a
Okay.
second.
I did.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ready?
Go ahead.
Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Jennifer Wiehe,
Yay.
Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Al Glick,
Yeah.
Pam Jackson.
Yeah. So we just need to notify
Yeah,
Gage.
do you want to do it or you want me to do it?
It doesn't
He-
matter, as long as
I
it comes
think
officially from
You're
the
already
village.
emailing it.
I'll email him. But, He also talked to Pam about our next contract with Rumpke,
Yes.
about looking at that and seeing how this all could work that way with Rumpke.
So there's some more options out there for us, it sounds like.
Get us a little cheaper with Rumpke.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Knock down that $8,000, would you?
Right. The other thing is, I got the first registration form that came in to participate in our Music in the Park, which is the Western Wildlife Corridor. They emailed it to me.
Okay.
So I received that one on the 19th. So hopefully there's more, because the deadline's the 31st.
I gotta get mine in.
And the other thing was, we
Dropping
talked
the
about
ball.
the advertising of signs, getting some prices. I know, Alan mentioned about Budweiser, that would provide some of the signs in that for us. But, reached out to Trey Signs, so there is some price quotes here. I mean, we talked about the banner, you know, doing, getting what the mayor had brought to us, those photos, to use them on flyers, to get them done professionally. It's just trying to decide what avenue do we wanna go. I mean, a banner, like we got out there that we use for like the cleanup, that one is like $200 to get one of those. And we've got, I think what we do, I think we said we had $2,500 in the advertising budget, just so we know where we're at on that. We got quite a bit to work with. And then the yard signs were like $12 for a single side. And if we do the little small sign over there, like on front of the for sale sign over at the park area, that one was $75.
How much was the big one, Pam? I'm
It was
sorry.
$200.
Mhm.
That's like that one we got for the cleanup day.
Mhm.
Goes all the way from pole to pole.
Cause this is, we need to do this is one of our goals, to get this out here, so we can start advertising. I know it's on Facebook, the mayor has put something on there. Also, I wanted to bring that up, talking about Facebook, there is a cost, she could probably explain it better than I can. You pay like a $21 fee, and then if you wanted to go out for, was it 90 days, 60, 90 days?
It's the,
like a
okay,
blast.
so the boost for the initial post is $21, is only for 2 weeks.
2 weeks, okay.
And that's just the post. And then we created an event, which we have 46 days is $94. Then we're promoting this event along with all the other events that's going on. So when somebody, hey, what's to do in our area? So if they're looking even at
So have you ever
Cincinnati,
seen
it's gonna come up.
Where it pops up
with
on there, and
ours.
you can go to an events page and you'll see places from all over that's going on around us. That's
Says they're
what that will do for us.
Yeah.
So, and you're talking $94. I think that's a no-brainer. Since everybody's into, I thought it would be a lot more expensive than that.
No, it's not really that
It
bad.
really
As soon as
isn't.
you punch up Facebook, that stuff comes right up on there. What's going on, and where.
Well,
Now, if you just post it, it's not really going anywhere.
No.
Okay?
Right, it's just a friend that people
They're
Now,
know.
if
also-
you boost and pay for it, people who don't look at your page are getting
They're
it.
gonna be advertising.
Right, which I have
So-
checked that website, I have not seen our village event on there yet. I don't know why, we're gonna have to get in touch with them. From the,
Call Glenn.
Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to try to throw out what's council wanna go with this. We wanna get some signs that Al saying that the Budweiser can provide for us
I mean, we could
And-
get them,
and
but they'll
these-
still do it.
in these two.
Doesn't
I would
matter.
Yeah.
get some,
Get both.
I get all of them.
Yeah,
For that
I
price.
think so too.
For the yard signs,
Mm-hmm.
I get the 3x5, I get the banner, I get the flyers.
And we're still gonna be
Do it all.
within our budget. We're still gonna have
Yeah.
more left. We just need to say, hey, let's do this, so we can get them ordered, and let's get them out there.
Yeah, we need to get them out there soon.
Yard sign, single side, what is double side?
Double side was,
15.
it was $3 more, $15.
Oh, I would definitely go with the double side.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all right.
How many,
Double-
how many you
Double
gonna
side?
get? I would get the double side, sure.
I'd go for all of it.
How
And
many
the
you
banner
gonna get?
would be like we put up
What
over
we
there.
currently have. Yeah.
Yeah, the sooner we can get
And
those
then,
done and get them
like the
out.
flyers that, like she made up, you know, on our printer, this would be professional. They're like, you can get, let's say, 50 of them for $35. You can get 100 of them for $60, or 500 for $200. That's the 8x5, a regular sheet of paper.
Yeah, and then he also,
Yeah.
did he introduce another size?
Yeah.
Yeah, the smaller one, a 5x5. That's kind of small.
Yeah.
We need like a regular sheet of paper.
I think the regular like sheet one,
Right.
500 of those, so we can mail them to everybody in Addyston, and then
And put them
you
outside
have
the
enough
community
to
too.
post as well.
Right,
So we have plenty of them.
so are we all in agreement to let Margaret and the mayor do this?
How many of these
Are you-
double-sided signs you gonna get?
Are you gonna make a motion that we go with the sign stuff for the advertising?
Mhm. So I'll make a motion that we go with Trey's sign. I cut that, I didn't print it, the name.
I'll second it.
As long as we stay within our budget.
Stay within the advertising budget is where I put it,
Yeah.
Time you looking at
Motion
that?
by Pam, did he second it?
I'll second it,
Okay,
yeah.
second by Al. Any
Dan?
discussion?
Let's see.
Or just?
Okay.
On the discussion, do we want to concentrate more, that's what I need to do, on the yard signs, or do we want more of just like the paper signs?
You wanna go yard size, cause you gotta go outside of the building.
That's what I say too.
You
Yeah.
gotta go out.
And
All right, I
then-
just wanted to
And
know.
then the Facebook stuff that was talked about.
Right, in the
paying for
Facebook.
that, yes.
All that advertising. And then we're still reaching out, I know Anna reached out to, what, one radio station?
One of the television stations that all you have to do there is send in
And I wanted to tell you, I found, when I was doing stuff with their auxiliary, I found some press release formats, if you want me to send you one.
Okay,
And that's what it is?
I think the one I had was with Channel 12, but
okay.
I think that's what all of the regular stations do. I just couldn't
Yeah.
get a hold of a person on those
Alright.
on those days.
So we'll
That's a bad.
We'll bring, and then after we make this motion. finish it.
Okay.
We are.
Dan Billick,
Yeah,
Jennifer Wiehe,
Yeah.
Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Al Glick,
Yay.
Pam Jackson.
Yay. And then we'll discuss about the, reaching out to the radio stations and the TVs, whatever. And we do need to set a meeting to come back and bring this all together after the 31st, when the applications are supposed to be in. Because we've got till then to see who wants to participate.
yeah, we'll have a regular meeting at that time. No, that's
I think you were talking about for
that's
an
the
event.
holiday, Monday, right, next.
Yes,
Special events.
September.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's into September, as soon as that
Okay.
31st
Mhm.
deadline is for the applications, then we'll see who wants to participate,
Yeah.
and then we'll know where we're going from there.
Where do you find the applications?
The applications we had here where people did not show up.
Well,
So-
Aaron's got some, but.
No, I mean, if I want an application, where do I get it?
You should be able to get them from
Aaron.
Aaron,
Aaron
has
should.
some.
Okay.
And then we had some,
That's what she was, he was
And I
asking.
have some too.
and then we
She's
took,
not
people
here.
took some at the meeting too, so I don't know who's distributing what.
Okay,
That's all I know.
yeah, absolutely.
And let's see, what was the other
Is
thing?
that something you can put online for all the online viewers or
Talk
not?
about that.
Be good on
I
the
think that'd be a great
webpage.
idea.
Be good
Well,
on the webpage.
Even in a
Actually, I reached out to our new webmaster and told him, hey, I got stuff I need to do. He promised me that I would have something tonight with the ability to be able to do things. And I just don't like how he has the clerk's webpage, and I more or less let him know that, but, he says he's working on it, and, I mean, I get phone calls from residents saying, I can't find this, I can't do that, who do I call? So, the mayor's aware of it,
Well,
so.
yeah, because I told her, I said, maybe if you email him too, and we both go at him, we
What
might
we
get
talking
something
about?
done.
Phil?
Or-
Talking
the
about the new
webmaster.
webmaster
No,
for the
not Phil.
We have a
webpage.
new,
Phil
Yeah.
picked this guy,
oh.
He
and
works
I'm
with
not,
Phil.
I'm not happy
Maybe
about
we
it
should
at all.
contact
Somebody else?
Matthew. He was responsive, he was quick.
Yeah.
And if whatever we told him to do, he would do right away. Don't you feel that way, Margaret, or not? You
Yeah,
dealt
I
with
mean,
him.
there was sometimes I think he got busy and I'd have to reach out to him maybe 2-3 times and say, you forgot my minutes, or where are my
Yeah.
minutes? You know, that way.
Yeah,
But this guy, I mean,
Wasn't my
we
choice
just turn
for
it
this
over
guy.
turn it over to her. She's got, we just need the ability to make it work for us.
yeah.
To get something on there that's current.
No, I'd like to
Yeah.
take it out of his hands is what I'd like to do, because we've been kind of arguing back
Can we
and
do
Didn't we
forth
already
on it.
pay this guy?
We paid him some,
Yeah. I think
pay
we
him
should.
for what
I
he's
remember when he come
done
in.
and get rid of him.
Well, been long enough, we can make a motion to do that.
Oh,
Make a motion to take it back and
yeah.
let's.
I mean, I don't know how many of you guys were familiar with, Matthew. Margaret worked with him a lot, I worked with him a lot, he was responsive.
Right, well, we didn't let Matthew go because of him.
Right,
It was supposed to be because we were switching the whole thing over due
Yeah.
to, this is what the auditors
Gmail
wanted,
account.
Right.
to this
exactly.
360
Right.
whatever.
We've seen nothing.
And then now that he's done that, and I said, well, you know, you've gotta get this webpage up, and I gave him all the information.
Mhm.
And then when I say to change something, he just, yeah, it's a sore subject for me too. Cause then I'm saying, you know, and I'm saying to him, like, why doesn't it look like this? Well, like with court dates, for instance, I sent him the paper, like, you know, she's got her court dates on the paper, so I emailed it to him. So he just takes the entire paper and just puts it up on the internet. I'm like, seriously?
We can do that.
He's got a page
You're
that
supposed to
says
take the
village
page off of it.
documents.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, what's that mean? I mean,
Yeah,
there's
it's
gotta
been
be
tough.
some control over what the village documents, like if it's minutes, I would rather it say minutes, if it's gonna say ordinances,
say
ordinances,
what it is.
resolutions, things like that.
He can't do that, he just puts it up there and takes a picture of it and sends it, huh?
Well, I'll make the motion that we void that contract and go back to Matthew and
Better
Be
see
able
if
to-
Matthew's available.
I'll second that, yeah.
I agree.
if he's available.
He's available.
Yeah, if he's
I
available.
mean, but we need to void the contract because we're not getting anything.
I second.
Yeah, motion by Pam, seconded by Dan, any discussion? No discussion, we'll vote.
Dan Pillow,
Yay?
Jennifer Wiehe, Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Al Glick,
Yay.
Pam Jackson.
Yay. So do we need to do anything different, just to send him a letter?
I think we need to, well, reach out first and see if Matthew wants to do
Mhm.
it. Now, since we've switched over though, because we are switched over,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
so I need to find out.
Right, there's a little bit more to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All
Because
right.
actually what we did
Matthew
was,
could do it.
we went from, like, for Gmail being our business account for our emails, we went to like the Google stuff. So, because the auditors, as the mayor said, that when we do group meetings and things like that, it was supposed to be easier for us, and like sending them documentation for audits.
Right.
You know, I'd have to send it to one of them because I had like a program on my computer through the state that I would send it to one, and then he'd have to send it to like the different members on the team for them to be able to see that, so.
Well, it was basically about having cloud. We had to
Yeah.
have off-site service.
Yeah.
Period.
Storage.
Yes.
Okay,
Very good.
all right, back to the music in the park. The beer permit, there's some things that we have to decide if we just gonna stick with one beer vendor, or are we gonna try to list another one just in case we do need to use someone, cause that's gotta get sent in.
You should list every possible one you would want to purchase.
If we're
there.
thinking craft beer or anything else, even if we don't do it,
Right,
it's on there
You need
that we
to
have the
list it.
option.
yeah.
Just put
So-
on there 50 West and Budweiser, cause we're right on 50.
I
50
mean,
West, that's a
So
craft beer.
is everybody okay with that, just so we can get this license in?
Yeah, I mean,
Because we
like
won't
how
meet
many
again till
are there that
September.
we know? Anheuser, Busch?
Well, there's
Well,
Yeah,
there's a
I will know.
Yeah, you
Like
have
the
to have
craft
certain
beers.
ones.
Yeah.
craft beers would be 50 West, Rheingeist,
13 below.
13 below, they don't get a truck out. Theirs
They
is
brought us one out.
a truck,
Hmm?
13 below.
Yeah, the last
Yeah, they
time.
did.
I thought that was a barbecue truck.
It was
Well, 13 below.
They have a barbecue truck.
But,
Oh,
yeah, but that wasn't for beer, right?
Yeah, it
it was
was-
a pull-behind trailer, it was
But
a
there wasn't
full-service beer bar.
nobody to man it. That was the problem, right?
Well, he
Nobody
was
to-
manning
Let's
it.
go
Oh,
say
yeah,
it.
somebody did for a
I
little
was,
bit.
I was the one spitting beer after everybody.
That's what I said. I knew they had the food trailer, which is
They got a beer trailer.
not theirs, but I
13
didn't know they
below,
had a
I
beer
forget.
trailer.
Their
Anyway,
barbecue trailer.
Fretboard's
it just
another
sits
one.
there.
Yeah, frat
So we'll just
board,
list,
Fretboard, 13
unless we can get in
below.
touch with somebody
Flat
before
tire,
we send it out real quick.
Rheingeist.
Like I
there's-
said,
yeah, those are the
Yeah.
if
craft
you
guys.
even
What
think you're
about the
gonna do
big,
it, put it
Put it
on
on
big
there.
there.
vendors?
Yeah, so is everybody
You
okay
know,
with that?
yeah,
Alright. And I think that was it. And then we'll set a meeting after the 31st.
Let me.
It's the 31st, the last day of that, so we know who wants to
Council?
participate.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay.
On that date that you're setting, I like my vacation so well
Okay, where are you going?
that I'll be going again.
All right, so what day
Yeah,
is good for
on,
you?
I think I'll be gone on September the 6th through the 12th.
I will as well.
Yeah, because I thought you had something too.
'Cause I go the 7th, 8th, 9th.
Okay, yeah, we
Well,
talked about that, so.
Is everybody
I'll be there.
available on September 1st? That's a Friday though,
Friday, September 1st.
before everybody goes out of town.
Bring the reunion picnic on Sunday,
What time Friday?
Labor Day,
Oh,
The friendly reunions on the
It's just, it's
second.
for,
yeah.
to talk about our music in the park.
Music in the park.
That's okay, we're good.
I
We'll
don't
fill you,
have a
we'll fill you
problem.
in. That's all right.
What day, or what time you thinking?
What time's everybody?
I don't know, 'cause I'll be busy on Friday, so
Yeah, well,
earlier in the day better for
well,
me.
Jennifer?
No, it'd have to be after 5:30 for me.
Yeah.
5:30's good.
Is 5:30 work for everybody?
5:30's good.
Just
for
so
me.
we
Our
can-
usual suspect is 5:30.
Okay,
I'm not-
5:30 for me.
I'm not adverse to 6 o'clock. What time do you go to work?
Well,
Well, that's my dinner
7,
crowd.
8:30.
Try to get in quick, get back.
I'm not adverse to 6 o'clock meeting in the morning either, just so we have that notes.
ooh, hold on there.
Now, you'll be there by yourself.
and you can even bring coffee and donuts, and some
Right.
of us won't be there.
5:30.
All right, so
We've had
and
a
this-
few of those.
this
Music in the
is-
park,
What, the date is, what is the first?
September 1st, yeah.
It's a Friday.
Okay. And that's all I had, so we can get that set at 5:30.
All right, thanks,
And then
Pam.
that day I'll bring back, some stuff on the carnival people, so we can choose what we wanna do.
I make a motion, we
Everybody
adjourn.
else has a turn.
I'll second that.
Motion by Dan, second by Al to adjourn. Call for the vote.
Dan Pillow.
Yay.
Jennifer Wiehe.
I was just kinda looking
Ann
like-
Phillips.
Yeah,
Sam
I'll
Jennings.
wait for a minute, no.
Margret, I think
I'm like,
this is
"We're gonna go."